It is day number 189 in the year 2021. There are 176 days left in the year to make it great. As we enter the end portion of week number 27, 51.51% of the year has come and gone. 51.51% of the year already behind us. 48.49% of the year is left. Good morning to you wherever you are, the north, south, east or west. Good morning. Good morning, Vanya over there in Savin Pie, always listening. Auntie Paula, Auntie Decima, good morning. Always listening. The folks in Girodel, the folks in Eggleston, good morning. Welcome to the Heng for today. It's Thursday, and we look forward to bringing you yet another wonderful program this morning. New protocols announced by the government of Dominica as it relates to entering Dominica in this COVID-19 time. You should pay attention to that. Importantly, fully vaccinated people, once they meet certain prerequisites, will not have to quarantine when they get to Dominica. I think that's welcome news for all travelers. Some time ago, a lady called me talking about expense. Madam, I think that fits right down your alley, and you should pay attention to what is going on here. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning to you, Daryl, and good morning to the many listeners of Kyrie FM. Pleasant good morning to everyone. Those of you celebrating your birthdays today, let me say happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary. And of course, if you've suffered the loss of a loved one, accept my deepest condolences. To a couple of my very good friends, let me say good morning to you. The lady who carries the initials of FS out there in Collyho, let me say good morning to you. To Eggleston, Hazel Mayers, let me say good morning to you. What you laughing, Brain? What you laughing? I said good morning to my friends or whatever it is.
No, but I thought it was when you call FS,
Brain, hold on.
the financial secretary.
You can say what you want.
Before we talk this morning, the man is at us.
That
has translated into the
lady
radio.
who carries FS. I know only one FS, the financial secretary.
That's right. That's right.
No, but you cannot be. People come there this morning, tell you good morning, you're ready to eat us. You bring that on radio too. A man cannot chuckle.
Yeah, it's all right. Before you attack me, I'm attacking all you.
Before we attack,
it's all you have it. Attack me.
Go ahead.
I in front. I take it in front. Yes, good morning to all of Dominica. It's a very beautiful day, and let's hope you will have a very beautiful day today. Look forward, of course, to that. And to many things. Let's look forward to being very productive today. Thursday, the 8th, a significant day in Dominica.
Well, life is a gift. Enjoy every moment of it. Let me just repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Life is a gift. Enjoy every moment of it. Good morning. Wishing you a wonderful day. Rose, Mom and Lincoln, and his brother, Paul Alexander, Dayton Baptist, my good friend Mr. Moranci in the Valley, Mrs. Charleston Shani, Bubbles, Honorable Blackmore, the Prime Minister, of course, I cannot forget him, Rudolph Thomas, Bubbles, and of course, my good friend from Margot, Jonathan. Good morning. Good morning. It's a wonderful day in Dominica. Every day, when I wake up in the morning and I realize that I'm in paradise, when I look at the situation, even in the Caribbean, in some of our neighboring islands, and I see the peace and tranquility we have in the country, I have to thank God for it. There are some idiots who put themselves on social media, and I think we are too lax. We must take nothing for granted. Because, in the Caribbean, one of the things that we are famous for is copycats. They always want to copy the bad things.
Leave that right there.
But I'm just warning some people, And I myself believe in taking no chances. Myself, I've lived in countries where they take no chances. So I'm just saying, Dominica is paradise, and I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying, especially the natural waters,
Yes, it
the
is.
rivers. I'm enjoying that because we have water, an abundance of water. Not only the what I call the cool water, but we have the hot water therapy. And whenever you think in terms of your fatigue, Joe, I would recommend to you and to my good friend Sogo that you journey out to Wharton Wavern and have yourself a warm water bath. Re-energize your body, because I notice certain things are going on and you need to rejuvenate that body of yours.
Notice certain things going on. What certain things you notice?
Rejuvenate. That's a
I'll
message.
take your- I will
That's
take your advice.
That's another message from my good friend Sogo
I'll
out there.
take
Rejuvenate
your advice,
yourselves,
sir.
gentlemen.
I'll take your advice.
Good morning, Daryl.
I'll go and get myself a hot water bath.
Of course you
Well,
should.
you said I should do that?
And then you cover yourself with sulfur.
With sulfur.
There's a new thing where you can just bathe yourself with the sulfur. I see some of them in water with just bathing themselves with water, with the sulfur.
We have a lot of these, what they call it, natural remedies,
Yes.
or alternate medicines
yes.
that we can make use of. But we also have to be educated on their uses.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, when you hear sulfur and it helps in ailments, don't just go and pick up sulfur and start eating. You know?
It's the therapy on your body.
Because I saw a place where they said cow dung. Somebody came and said cow dung protects against COVID-19.
And they started
And man started bathing and eating cow dung, you know. So let us leave that there. But gentlemen, a couple days ago, I mentioned to you about row going on in sporting organizations.
What's the latest?
Well,
handball or football? Where is it? I don't know, because when I mentioned that, don't frighten. I know at some time, and it's all in the news, there was a big controversy over handball. I know that for a fact. It's no secret. That was in the news all in the Caribbean. So I don't know if it's that one. I know there was some controversy as well in cricket. I don't know if it's that one as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing the latest news in terms of that. I heard there was some investigation going on as it relates to the handball election. So I don't know whether that has been resolved or whether the report
And the
came
Dominica Olympic Committee commissioned an inquiry into the handball, into the last elections of the Dominica Handball Association.
I don't know whether the report has been in.
I don't know.
There seem to have been some controversy surrounding it. I don't know what is the latest on it. So there's a lot of controversy going on in sports, I know for a fact. And we cannot hide it or sweep it under the carpet. I know some fellas look at sporting organization as a chance to make their largesse.
Really?
I know they say they're coming to volunteer, but when you look at it,
They come in to serve.
they come in to serve the nation, but when you look, they are out in the Philippines, they're in London, they're in Australia, they're in Indonesia,
They're feathering their nest.
they're in China. More than feathering their nest, they're having a bon temps. And when you look and see what is the sporting development that's
Nothing.
taking place within the organization,
Nothing.
absolutely nothing.
Not even a simple elections that
Not
they
even
can hold.
nothing at all. I don't understand it, man.
Pathetic.
It's pathetic. If you come into an organization and you say it's voluntary, then you do voluntary work. But you do not join the organization simple to travel, because when you're
to feather your nest.
because when you're traveling, you get US, You get US to keep you alive. And when you go in those hotels, your foot is in warm water, you're eating shrimps, you're eating all kinds of things that you never ate before. All kinds of things. You're just eating exotic fruits.
Something you were waiting for Daryl.
You were just
to have
waiting.
conversation.
I'm sorry, Daryl should have never brought it. But I'm just saying that I've been listening to all the different types of activities taking place in sports, and a lot of controversy, Daryl, as you said. And so I just took the opportunity to expound on what I've been hearing in the media.
8:23 is the morning time. The Heng brought to you compliments the good folks at Flow Dominica, Busy Bubble Laundry, Best Price, and Auto Trade Limited. We'll be back right after a word from our sponsors.
Can you speak Creole or Cocoy fluently? Creole Heartbeat Magazine is recruiting local media talent, news readers, radio and television announcers, program hosts, talk show hosts, and MCs. Applicants must be 18 years and over and legal residents of Dominica. High school qualifications or higher, or formal training or work experience in a media field would be an asset. Submit applications to the Creole Heartbeat Magazine, Val Ferry Office, Roseau, or call 616-3457 for more information.
You looking for good eggs? I mean quality fresh eggs straight from the farm? Well, we have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the quantity. We've got the right amount. Visit us at Prince City downstairs Kyrie FM on Independence Street for your fresh farm eggs, or call telephone 448-7331, 448-7330 or 448-8752 and we'll get you your fresh farm eggs.
I'm not exaggerating, boiling with excitement.
We are launching the new 2022 Nissan Frontier. Join us at AutoTrade this Friday, the 9th of July at 10 a.m. Come test drive this vehicle and learn about different financing options. Remember, at AutoTrade, it's more than a vehicle, it's a relationship.
Daddy, you dirty your clothes again, and mommy not there to help you though. Well, bam, bam, daddy, dirty his clothes.
Easy breezy, busy bubble laundry service on the hustle. Washing, drying, folding service. Washing comfort cause it's worth it. Kiddies own cribs and toys.
Come on, daddy, bring the bag.
Dirty stains from wine and malts. Come on, man, it's not your fault. Busy bubble.
Visit our new location on the Castle Comfort Highway next to the Cicero Hotel. Busy Bubble Laundry, taking the busy out of your day.
You can win when you top it up, switch it up, sign it up on the love. Easy wins with flow. Easy wins, flow. Easy wins.
Catch the easy summer vibes with over $70,000 in cash and prizes. Just top up $15 or more. Activate a prepaid plan, switch to Flow, sign up, or bundle your home services to get your share of $70,000 in cash or data, Samsung Galaxy devices, shopping vouchers, and more.
You can win when you top it up, switch it up, sign it up on the love. Easy wins with flow. Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
Secure your valuables and important documents, including medical documents, passports, and personal identification. Wrap in waterproof bags or containers to keep them safe in the event of leaks or flooding during a passage of a storm. A message from Best Price, where you save a lot on hurricane season essentials.
8:29 is the morning time. Joining us on the line is Senior Counsel Anthony Astafan. Senior Counsel, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tip, and your cockpit crew and all your listeners.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Senior Counsel. I hope it's nice weather in your neck of the woods as it is here in Dominica. But I wanted to ask you, Senior Counsel, it's July 8th. I know you and your legal team returned to court today re this treating matter. What is the latest on this?
Well, good question to start off the morning with. I think the bottom line is that the complaints are no longer alive. The learned director of public prosecution, as you will recall, because we had discussed it on the radio, had requested the complainants to provide her with the evidence upon which they rely or were going to rely, and they provided it to her and to us. And the director of public prosecution came to the conclusion that there was nothing in the evidence to warrant prosecution or could justify a conviction, that there was an abuse of the process of the court, and she had it discontinued. So the lawyers are appearing in court this morning as a matter of courtesy to the court, presumably to get an acknowledgement from the court of the discontinuance. But the cases are now over. And I think it was an absolutely mature, courageous, and correct decision.
The cases are now over, meaning the charges are dismissed, withdrawn, or in legal terms. What does it mean legally?
Well, it means the prosecution has been discontinued.
All right.
Honestly, I don't know what the effect of that would be on the complaint, but I think that decision will also repudiate the decision. The complaints, they would no longer be alive for determination by any court. So that's the end of the matter.
All right. So what happens now, Est? You're going to court this morning. The lawyers are going to court this morning. Is there any way this matter can be refiled or what have you?
No, because the 6 months has passed.
Okay.
And in any event, it would be an abuse of the process of the court for them to come again.
But we have been saying, and through you in particular, we have been saying that this was a frivolous, nonsensical matter. And I remember the line of questioning posed to you by the CCJ, even if the ruling went against us. Where are we? Not where are we now? What is your take on now this dismissal in line with the questioning posed to you by the judges of the CCJ?
Well, I think it was Justice Barrow on the 10th of December 2020 asked me this question on a party note, Mr. Astafan. Presumably that means it came at the end of the submission. Is it within the competence of the Director of Public Prosecutions in Dominica to discontinue prosecutions by a private citizen? And my answer was yes. Justice Barrow said, thank you. Judges in an apex court, meaning the highest court of the land, don't really ask questions that are without meaning. And in fact, Justice Anderson jumped in and said he was quite keen on that question as well. And my response to him was that we had not yet asked the DPP for any intervention, but we felt it was a legal matter, a jurisdictional matter, which we felt the court should deal with first. And obviously on the jurisdictional point, I was wrong, and I accept the CCJ's decision as the final court. But I have serious questions and reservations about the correctness of the decision. But you don't hear me beating the CCJ. I mean, we just have to deal with it. And if I am to make any representations on behalf of the Labour Party to Sir Dennis Byron on electoral reform, I intend to raise this issue as well. And I intend to raise the issue of the context, or the context and a reason to prevent us having to go through the situation ever again, where between 2005 and 2020, we've had 20 election petitions struck out at the initial stages, and now we've had a complaint filed against 15 elected and former elected members of the House. being dismissed discontinued by the Director of Public Prosecution, who acted in her own deliberate judgment on a position that is clear. Her objective analysis of the evidence that was going to be presented by the United Workers Party was just non-existent to warrant a prosecution, not sufficient, not. I mean, it just. And on another day, when we have more time, I will take my time and explain why I was completely outraged by what I thought was forum shopping by the United Workers Party and their constant attempt to harass the Dominica Labour Party's elected members, despite the fact that Justice Mario Mitchell in the Ron Green Peter Seja case said that politicians have to stop bringing their political fights into the jurisdiction of the court. That's the court is not there to decide petty partisan squabbles simply because you've lost the election. And there's something else that I wanted to mention as well. What particularly troubled me as well. I've read the DPP's documents that were served on us, and she made no mention of it. She made no mention of it. But I think it's important I make a point here. I mean, these fellows went and prepared witness statement from the following. Jawanza Stewart of Castle Bruce, a proto-hardcore UWP activist. Julius Tyrone Anthony of Layu, Blessings and Jawanza. Nicholas George. Xavier Burgess Xavier. The only thing he and Clinton do, I see them in each other's home, I see them using each other's car. Burgess is his bosom buddy, always doing evidence for him, assisting him in his cases and so on. Another proto-workers, right? Social media posts, the show a close tie between him and Linton. Edging Court Peter Central, so-called bodyguard of Lennox Linton. Mona Charles from
Marigot,
a frequent caller. I was told she's a frequent caller to Q95 and is constantly opposing and lambasting the policies of the Dominica Labour Party and the Prime Minister. And then, last but definitely not least, Mr. Workers himself, Linworth Michel, also known as Mystic Licks. I mean, can anybody seriously believe that when you bring in witness statements on hardcore fellas, just imagine if the Labour
So
Party
senior counsel, just hold on. These were the guys who claimed they were treated or who were giving evidence for treating?
Well, I'm not even sure what they were saying because most of them were saying, oh, they were outraged, they shut off the radio, they turned off the TV, and so on. There's nothing in anything that we have read, and which I am sure the Director of Public Prosecution read, that indicated that anybody was corruptly influenced by this alleged treated. That they were not corruptly treated. In fact, they denied being corruptly treated because they saw it as rubbish and they turned off the TV and the thing. So
they give evidence against themselves then?
But naturally, and Clarence was making that point last night, and he was being extraordinarily sarcastic and effective by saying, of all the people that the Labour Party were able to corruptly treat to Labour in the 2014 election, were these fellows?
Including a candidate of the UWP?
Yeah.
But what is this at all?
but they never said that they would. Clarence was joining the inference that if you're coming to give evidence, it's to show that you were corruptly influenced or that you had knowledge of somebody who was, and there's nothing like that. And one of the things that I argued throughout the case, and maybe that's one of the reasons why the CCJ, the justices of the CCJ were asking me about the DPP and were asking Carol Shillingford about the abuses of the process of the court. there must be a reason why they were asking these questions. And I have always said that you can twist language out of context if you wish, but the mere holding of a fete, of a band, of a concert during election without more would never constitute corruption. Justice Thomas said the same thing about food and drink. Justice Glasgow, I think, has given the most precise interpretation of what treating should consist of. Once it has the effect of imprisonment and fine and disqualification, and in the case of the High Court, disqualification. It can't simply because there's music, because music is a cultural thing. And we have always, from 1985, in my first election campaign with the Dominican Labour Party, all of the political parties, well, the two political parties then, Swinging Stars was always playing for Freedom Party and so on. I think Sparrow played for them at one time at Cicero Hotel. And this was just an attempt to harass, using the court against the admonition of Justice Michel, to harass the elected members of the parliament. They have not been able to pass the threshold required for the election petition in the High Court. And I certainly intend to raise that with Sir Dennis Byron when our turn comes to meet with him. You know?
Yes.
And worse, Darren, not only was there nobody identified as being corruptly influenced, they were saying they were not. And treating requires the influence of the treating to operate even on the date of the election and influences your mind as to how to vote, which otherwise you would not have voted for anybody. There's nothing there. The whole thing was, we catch them, the pastor, the Rasta, come to thing. Dominicans went there like brainless people. All of a sudden, they all came out and decided to vote for the Labour Party. But they were saying, all of the witnesses were saying, but that never happened because that didn't happen to them. You know? And it's really, I think, to make a long story very short, justice has been served. Now, let me just make one or two other points.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Two things. Linton's position is that this discontinuance is the result of no law, no constitution, blah blah blah, the usual nonsense. I want the Dominican people to understand. The Caribbean Court of Justice, the apex court of our Commonwealth of Dominica, justices of that court had asked me the fundamental question: is it within the competence of the Director of Public Prosecutions in Dominica to discontinue prosecutions by a private citizen? And I said yes, and Justice Barrow said thank you. The Director of Public Prosecution in St. Kitts, a couple months ago, took over private criminal complaints filed by the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, alleging bribery, not treating bribery, against an elected member of the unity government that's now in power. And he informed the magistrate that he's going to ask for the evidence from the complainant. When he reviews it, he's going to make a decision on whether he prosecutes it himself or he continues it. Couple weeks later, 3 weeks later, couple weeks later, he comes back to the court and he tells the court, I have decided to discontinue this complaint because there is no sufficient evidence to warrant a prosecution or support a conviction. That has been the law arising out of election petitions and other allegations made against citizens, including elected members. It has happened in Guyana, it has happened in St. Kitts, it has happened in St. Vincent, on 2 or 3 occasions in which I was professionally involved in. It has a matter that has been dealt with by the Privy Council on the powers of a Director of Public Prosecution to take over these matters and to decide whether on the facts or in the public interest to discontinue these prosecutions. Because as Sir Richard Cheltenham said in a matter in which I appeared with him in St. Vincent, And I think it's reflected in one of the judgments. He said to the court that while it is that private criminal complaints, citizens can file private criminal complaints, the gatekeeper, the keeper of the gate to the criminal jurisdiction of the court, to the criminal law, to invoke the powers of punishment by the high court or the magistrate's court, is vested in the director of public prosecution. And he has a constitutional duty, mandate, or obligation to exercise his or her independent and impartial jurisdiction or discretion, to decide whether that door should remain shut, to be shut, or be opened to allow a private criminal complaint to proceed. And one of the fundamental grounds has always been the absence of sufficient evidence, because generally private criminal complaints tend to be about petty little matters, trespass, stealing a man mango, and so on, as opposed to complex, difficult issues of fact and law. Right? In Barbados, the coroner, some court had decided or recommended the prosecution of police for killings and lawful killings. And it was challenged by the police, and the police said, the High Court, the Chief Justice of Barbados said that police officers are entitled to the same protection of the law as private citizens. And as the law does not permit prosecutions against private individuals if there's no evidence to support it in the public interest or otherwise, the same applies to the commission, to the police officer. Carol Shillingford argued about this equality before the law. And I have to tell you, I have a question mark about it, because we do not have the broad equality before the law provision. But she succeeded on that point. And the point she succeeded on was that every single category of citizens, including elected members, are subject to the rule of law. The court of CCJ said they are subject to the criminal jurisdiction of the magistrate's court. That's the decision of the CCJ. But like every other citizen, like every other police officer, like every other person within the jurisdiction of the magistrate's court, they're entitled to the supervisory jurisdiction of the director of public prosecution as well. And we have, and I sent you, Daryl, some weeks ago, a list of discontinuances, including some by Julian Prevost, when he was acting director of public prosecution.
Yes.
Where matters were withdrawn against persons accused of murder, money laundering, drug trafficking, and other serious criminal offenses. Right? So there is nothing novel here. There's nothing new here. There's no revolutionary decision being made here. It's a decision which the law has accepted for decades, that if the equality before the law provisions apply to the elected members being prosecuted, the equality of law provisions and the equality of protection of the law provisions applies to them as well. And that includes the jurisdiction and exercise of the jurisdiction by the director of public prosecution. It cannot be that a man accused of murder can have his case not be processed and discontinued because of the absence of evidence. Or a notorious drug trafficker, or somebody accused of some violent crime, or some serious fraud, because evidence is not there. Right? That the members of the United Workers' Party could have complaints brought against them in the magistrate's court, discontinued by the late, great Gene Pestino, because he did not think the prosecutions were warranted. It was done recently again with some of these fellows in the United Workers' Party, when the director of public prosecution offered no evidence against them. The same principle, the same fairness, the same equality before the law applies to elected politicians on this side of the political fence. So they can blah, blah, blah all they want. The decision, we say, is a correct decision. Justice has been done, and the harassment, the use of the magistrate and other courts as a weapon of harassment to harass and intimidate and unsettle elected members of the parliament has been put to an end, and justice has been served finally.
Senior counsel, one matter of law. Does the DPP have to give any reasons for discontinuing the case?
Well, she should, and she did. The notice of discontinuance does not indicate any specific reason, but the cover letter to Mr. Senval that accompanied the notice of discontinuance set out the reasons by the judge, by the director of public prosecution. Based on your question, it seems as if every other document has been circulated on social media by the United Workers' Party, except this one.
No, I saw a document just a few minutes ago while you were speaking, but I don't think it's the cover letter you speak of. I did not see any reasons given. I just saw that, the case was discontinued.
She did give a reason.
Mm-hmm. All right.
She did give her, and if I can get the copy of it, let me see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm going to send it to you right now.
Yes. Okay. Good. Thanks.
Okay, you'll have it. So, Daniel, I got to go. Sorry, I have to rush off.
All right, Senior Counsel.
Any clarification, please.
I will do that, and I'm sure we'll focus on that heavily on Saturday night as well.
Yes, and even if I'm on the road or wherever I am, I will answer the call once it's coming.
Once we need some clarification. Thank you very much.
If you don't have the letter, you can read it.
All right. Thank you very much, Senior Counsel. Thank you very much there. Let me see if I can get that. Yes, there is the letter. And it is written to a one Edincott Senval. And it was written on July 7. It's addressed July 7, 2021. And from what I see there, it reads, private complaint number DOMMCR 2015/0705. Edincott Senval versus Roosevelt Skirt et al. Filed in the Magistrates Court. Further to my letter, in which I informed you of my decision to take over the prosecution in the caption matter, kindly be advised that I have again read the disclosed evidence and am fully satisfied that there is absolutely no evidence to warrant prosecution or support conviction. I am therefore of the firm view that it is not in the public interest to allow the prosecution to continue. Accordingly, kindly be advised that I have decided to exercise my constitutional authority and hereby discontinue the prosecution with immediate effect. Please find enclosed a copy of the letter to the Chief Magistrate, giving her notice of the taking over of the private criminal proceedings in the matter, and also a copy of the notice of discontinuance dated the 7th day of July 2021 and filed at the Roseau Magistrates Court on that same said date. Kindly be advised accordingly. Respectfully yours, Director of Public Prosecutions Acting, and that is Sherma Dalrymple. It is copied to the Honorable Attorney General, Anthony Astafan SC, Lennox Lawrence, co-attorney, and Heather Felix Evans, co-attorney. These are who the letter is copied to. So, folks, let us make it clear that the DPP has acted within her constitutional authority and has gone forth and discontinued the matter for basically what she said there. No, the disclosure confirmed that there was no evidence, warrant of prosecution, or that would lead to conviction. And she exercised her constitutional authority and discontinued that matter. And what was more alarming is the people who came forth giving witness in the treating case. You would expect that in a treating case, you would get evidence of people who claim they were treated. If Nicholas George, a candidate for the UWP, and a senior member of the executive of the UWP is claiming that the DPP treated him, Well, no
DLP.
fini bat.
Dominic.
The DLP, sorry, DPP. No fini bat. Magwesa. Nah. On the local line, good morning.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Blackmore. I haven't heard you in a while or seen you in a while.
Sometimes you have to listen. That's how you learn. Good morning to Brian. Is Brian in this morning?
Right there, my brother.
And Jyoti.
I'm batting at number 3.
Okay, well, that's one. The person who batted number 3, nobody. That person is the best batsman, you know.
But I never know a Dachshund can bat at number 3, but anyway, night watchman.
The likes of Lara and Richards and this folks there, you know.
I know. Richards.
Yeah. But folks, I want to join with Senior Council to actually total support of this decision taken by the DPP. I maintain, as you know, Daryl, consistently maintain that what happened to us, and the Prime Minister and the other members, those of us who were still ministers and those who actually ran in 2014 for the Labour Party, that our rights were trampled on. I can't understand that the matter that actually started in 2014. In 2021, you're asking people to go on a fishing expedition to look for witnesses. And this is a blatant undermining of the administration of justice. It's not so, Daryl.
Yes.
And then you're talking about treating, where for some reason the act that we had, the public performances that we had, somehow influenced people to vote for the Labour Party and to sway the advantage, the political advantage, in the direction of the Labour Party. Now, it's interesting that the persons who actually bribed to vote for the workers, for the Labour Party, some of them were candidates.
Candidates.
Nicholas George. Can you imagine? I can't understand.
I don't get that.
Mr. George, a man who I had so much respect for, can get himself in a situation he has found himself.
Were you ever under his command at the police force?
Well, yes, because you can recall when I worked CID almost all my life, but when I came back from before I went to the studies, I did the SSU training with the U.S. Army at Mount Bruce. So I was also SSU trained. So I would have gone on a certain bush exercise with Mr. George, and because folks like myself and Wicks and myself, and we were actually SSU trained in CID. So sometimes we used to go on bush exercise and stuff like that with SSU, Mr. Pellery and Mr. Nicholas George. And when I became a minister, he and I worked very closely together. For matter of fact, on a number of occasions when I traveled, he traveled with me. So he's a guy I had immense respect for, and I can't understand. That is why
I was about to ask you is what went wrong? Did he bounce his head on a flight? What went wrong?
The thing is that what may have transpired, I think when Mr. George retired from the police force, and then I was the Minister for Public Works and Ports and Energy, etc. And the incumbent Director of Security of DASPA had attained the age of 60, and he had to retire. And there was a vacancy there for the position of Director of Security for DASPA. So there were a number of applicants, including Mr. George and two other police officers. Mr. George was recommended for the position, and I can recall that may his soul rest in peace. The then president, Dr. Liverpool, called me and spoke to me on behalf of Mr. George. So my taking at the time, although Mr. George and myself were colleagues, that how can you ask the incumbent, having attained the age of 60, to retire from the position because he's 60 years, and seek to replace that person with someone who's older than him, who's 60 years plus. So in my view, that was going to expose the DASPA to undue litigation. I'm saying that possibly could be the reason for that significant change in his behavior and general disposition. And that's what I've never said it before.
Confirming once again that party, the characteristic is one side will get something, I vex with you.
So it could have been that, because I mean, he was during the police, when I was in the police force, when I was the minister, he was in charge of operations. At one stage, I can recall speaking to the Prime Minister and asking the Prime Minister to make him hold on as acting deputy chief of police. And so I mean, and I'm not sure what trying, but I'm trying to think as to that possibly could have been the reason why you have this certain hit against the administration. But I am saying that as the minister at the time for the part, I had to put our friendship aside and take the best decision and to protect DASPA from undue litigation. By taking a decision that could expose us. Because if you're asking, I think the incumbent was Mr. Eric, who was a sports security director for a long period of time, and he had to retire because he had attained the age of 60. And I could not have seen the justification, therefore, to replace him by someone who retired from the police force at the age of 60. Do you get my point? And I think that's something, But having said that, so you look at the evidence. What you have to understand, you cannot bring politics from the political platform into the court, because you're not charging Reverend Blackmore or Prime Minister Skerritt because he's Skerritt. You're bringing an allegation for an offense or for a crime against him. So it's the offense or the crime that is on trial. So you have to bring the elements to prove that case. You get my point? And so it's not a political exercise. So you have Mr. Nicholas George as one of the witnesses was bribed. I'm not sure whether it was the gospel exposure that bribed him to cause him to vote against himself in Solihull. And to vote for that. No, we are now looking at the actual evidence before the court. That if this matter were to be allowed to continue, what would be unfolding before the court? The abuse.
It would be a comedy.
Okay. So we are saying therefore, in 2014, Mr. Nicholas George voted for Catherine Daniel because the gospel concert changed him.
Yes, he was so moved. He felt the spirit.
So the spirit now, understand, influenced him and swayed him in the direction of Catherine Daniel. For some folks, essentially, that is what them fellows will bring against us before the court. This is the kind of laughable stuff that those guys who actually bring him against the Prime Minister and the other candidates, some of us who are still ministers. And then you have the personal bodyguard at the time, Burgess, giving a statement that he too may have gone to the reggae.
What am I in?
Oliver, he have gone to the reggae stuff and he done so much to the reggae thing. He never danced that much on his reggae thing. And then he was moved to vote. I'm not saying if he's voting also north or where, to vote for the Labour Party candidate. And then they had something from WikiLeaks. Okay, right? Something from WikiLeaks. And folks, so maybe I'm sounding humorous, but that's the absurdity. You see? And the kind of hate these guys have for one man, You see? It's the people who vote for the Labour Party. It's the people who have given us the mandate to run this country. And when the people so wish to elect another party, they will do so. You got my point? And to bring hate into the precinct of the court. And you have folks who are supposed to be bright folks, defending this foolishness. A spade has to be called a spade, is not so? And then so, how can you tell me that any serious DPP is going to allow the unfolding of such a laughable, a matter before the court? And this is, in my mind, is putting the whole justice system in Dominica to a poppy show, isn't that so? So
Right, yeah.
A joke.
A joke. So Nicholas George was swayed to vote for Catherine Daniel. So Catherine, if you listen,
Boy.
that's one vote.
One vote you got. The spirit moved him.
You were not aware of. So I mean, so I think that and then you have the misconception that has been made. I'm not sure it could be inadvertent or deliberate, as if to say that is the CCJ actually looked at the merits of the matter, and so they're saying now the CCJ ruled that the matter should be tried. You see, and that is the next bogus narrative that has been pushed forward by the Workers' Party. And that is why I had a beef, always had a beef, and I say, I cannot question the magistrate. But when you tell a man, you must now go and to disclose and to look for people now. So the only persons they could have gotten was Burgess, Nicholas George, and some other persons, all of whom are Workers' Party supporters.
The people were sitting right around the table there, you know. It wasn't nobody they got outside for you.
Blessings.
People right around the table. What is blessings? I don't know what is that.
No, he was not one.
I don't know what is that.
The tyrant.
So these folks, you know, folks in the orbits of Leonard Clinton, you know, were the same folks who were swayed. So the independent voters, or the undecided voters, okay, were not swayed.
No, but are those guys saying that sitting around the table at their own party, they were looking for alternatives? They were not convinced that they had to vote for their party, that they could be so easily swayed?
Yeah, they were swayed by... Nicholas George was swayed by the gospel concert. But there's another, apparently was swayed by the reggae artist. I can't even call... What band we had again?
I'm not sure. Was it Morgan Heritage?
Morgan Heritage.
Morgan Heritage. Sweat them fellas, man.
By much less for if they had seen extra.
Yeah, you get that one. So that's the merit. That's the merit of the case that they brought against us, and that is what they wanted to unfold before the court. And as I said before, our rights are trampled upon, and even if we're ministers or the prime minister, we have rights just like you, Daryl, just like you, Bryn, not to be harassed. And not to be dragged before the court arbitrarily. You get my point?
Yes,
right. Fundamentally, that's what happened. And then, if you're talking about public interest, what more blatant undermining of the public interest one can actually experience by having folks to arbitrarily just take anything before the court, any laughable or vexatious stuff before the court. You get my point? So when they're talking, if they're really serious and honest, they themselves realize that they themselves are laughable. And they're laughable in the approach to remove a government that is elected by the people. So that's how you want to remove a government? To go and take your own candidate and say that he was bribed? And he not only was bribed, he voted against himself? I can recall that fellow Bandy Legs Brown, Ashraf, you know Bandy Legs Mao?
Yes. Ashraf Simon.
Ashraf Simon, my good friend. He already knows and at least he voted for himself. He was convinced he was going to win, but Mr. George was not convinced he was going to win, so he voted for Catherine Daniel.
Well, Mr. Blackmore, we have to take a break there for a little while. Yeah, I'm being told that I have to make a change in the connection of the phone there before you cut off. So we have to take a little break there, and we'll back. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right, thank you very much, Honorable Reuben Blackmore. We'll be back in a few minutes.
You're too full. You're too full. Tell them I say that. You're too full. Ministers, tell them I say that. Warning, Dominica, lock your front door. Mad people out. Yo, left the land of sun and rainbow. America, them boys go. America flashing in snow. See them like some Eskimo. I heard Shirley had a box collecting money for Lennox, but the whole arrangement was to send him anger management. Workers, new tabuki food. Yow yow, jokers, cafe magic 2 for 2. Up to now you haven't spoke about your plan, but you tarnish in the name of my land, telling me young people asking for guns to shoot those little tiny man and them Asian man. Workers, new tabuki food. Hey, hey, hey. Jokers, cafe magic 2 for 2. Get them. Madness in the place.
Faut pas plus fou passer ça. The phone lines are back up and operational. So if you've been trying to call, just have to make a little switch there.
You say nothing happening. A lot of people envy.
I mean, we laughing, fellas, but all joke aside.
Nicolas Fou, no? Me say Fou, man.
You talking about a treating case and a sitting candidate, a senior member of your party is claiming
that he was treated,
that he was convinced
to vote,
morally or otherwise, to vote for your to vote for the Labour Party. I mean,
to vote
to vote. No, man. On the local line. Good morning.
Hello, morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
My brothers, and now you don't be looking like person play mun fou parce que c'est mun fa qui foi. And I'm telling you, their problem is not the Labour Party they hate, It's the Prime Minister. I can attend to you and I can certainly tell you that UWP have a special hatred in their heart for Roosevelt Skerrit.
But that hatred, well, anyway.
They will do anything for them to see if they can remove Roosevelt Skerrit from where he is there, which is not they who put Roosevelt Skerrit there, it's the people of Dominica and God. So my brother, because of that, they'll fail. And UWP just started to fail. But I would like to ask you a question, Mr. Daryl. Or anyone call you. Isn't that enough for him to lose a case? And they give him certain time for him to pay the because he has
yes. I must find out about that.
Peanut burns.
No, not that, man, partner. They had to pay some money for the petition matter in 21 days. Yes, they had to pay some money. Who had to pay 60,000? Who had to pay, not 60,000, 6,000, 2,000, this sort of thing. They had to pay some money.
Okay. Yes, but anyway, I think he gets another opportunity for him to try to raise money again.
Well,
telling him this morning that the lawyers looking to appeal this decision of the DPP.
They're looking to appeal the decision of the DPP.
But you cannot appeal the decision.
Let me play that song again. Let me play that song. Come, I played my song again, man. All right. All right. Appeal the decision of the DPP.
But the matter is dead.
But anyway.
Dominica,
mad men there.
Mad people. Left the land of sun and rainbow. America, them boys go. America flashing with snow. See them like some Eskimo. I heard Shirley had a box collecting money for Lennox, but the whole arrangement was to send him anger management. Workers, new tabuki food. Yow yow, jokers, cafe magic 2 for 2. Up to now you haven't spoke about your plan, but you tarnish in the name of my land, telling me young people asking for guns to shoot those little Chinese man and them Asian man. Workers,
Miota Bukifu. My goodness gracious. And it's not the leadership. I mean, come on, man. 2015, all you brought case before court. Petitions were not going to be filed because going to take the criminal route. All you brought the case before the court. All you were there. All you brought, all you thing. The matter was delayed in the court. It went through the motions. The CCJ ruled in y'all's favor. I would have expected fellas would be parking vans by the magistrate's court with bundles about the number of people who were treated. These same people that on the radio talking about treating case and how you should. These are the same people you got to bring evidence? Huh? But I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. On the local line, good morning.
Hey, Daryl.
Good morning. Good morning.
I always tell you there's a papi show, there's a caution thing, that going on, and it's a set of disgruntled men, that doing all those things there. I mean, blessing. That's just pure clown. I always say that was just wasting the court time. And it's a habit they have, picking up false witnesses and bring them to the magistrate. And those magistrates, according to as long as you have witnesses, let us go. Congratulations to the DPP. She do her work. She do what she has to do. And that is a pure, we can call them workers' party again, pure caution party.
Useless, wicked party.
It's more than even wicked. Those words, they're able to soft. Because you cannot be wasting people's time and causing those things, taking money from your own people, paying lawyers. I mean, come on, let's be real. That's serious, If running a country is serious, our future of our children, and our generation, if we have to protect our country. If people say they love Dominica so much, they must stamp on the stupid old politics there. They must really stamp on it. That's division, that's enemy. It's not good. It's just not good. Especially with that man they have there. They're so biased and hypocrite. They're asking about the Prime Minister to be quarantined. I never heard them talk about the man if he had been quarantined. They talk about the Wakedi man and bring him in. But
Marlene, if is that look, a man they don't know from Adam is who they most concerned about. Go and ask Princess if he knows a person by the name of Mr. Polak. Just ask Princess that. And ask him if his phone bill go up because he has been making calls to Antigua and India and England. Just ask Princess that. Anytime anybody speak to Princess, ask Princess if he have to buy more top up because he call in India, he call in England, and he call in Antigua. Just ask him that.
Daryl, listening to the man's statement, and he said made a lot of statement which you see lawyers go and look for him. How the lawyers should go and look for him? Who call the lawyers? We have to start asking questions because the man is not a politician to say the man is a politician. Why are they defending the man so much?
Well,
I have a concern too. What is important in man? The money, the crime he has done, or the man himself? That's what we want to know. What are they protecting? His money? If they say the man is a crime, and see where the hypocrite again. Listen to Leonard Clinton's statement talking about if a man has done a crime. Just listen to his statement, and then same people with Angelo Allen was saying the government is selling diplomatic passports to crooks and criminals, and now you're defending one bold-facedly. Come on, what are you defending? Who are you really representing? I mean, if you care for your country, you should care that a man, they say a man come back door. And now is the time of COVID. If it was a poor person, all you would say put them in. And all you have the man up. We never heard of the man quarantined anywhere. And we know coming back there is illegal. So what are they protecting? We need to ask workers, Mr. Linton, a lot of questions with that man.
Anyway.
We hope they answer. We will answer for ourselves.
Yes.
See you and good morning.
See you and good morning. On the overseas line, good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to Jyoti and Brain.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The entire nation. I'm listening to you, and I listen to the senior counsel. I listen to Minister Blackmore, and I am baffled. I know you can go to an extreme. You can take certain decisions. You can do certain things. But when you get to the point where you want to implicate your own self in a dishonor and hypocritical manner to try to see how you can get somebody else up or bring somebody else down or bring an organization down, and that has no evidence to support your claim by acclamation. Comrade, this is an ultimate hype. I have never heard of that. These guys in the beginning never had no evidence. They had nothing to show about treating and bribing. They said they had a lot of evidence. I guess some of the people travel overseas, it looked like, or some people maybe died, or some people just recused themselves from the case. And now they get some top brass of the Workers' Party to say that they are witness to what happened, and so they were treated by. So it begs the question, Daryl Tate. If all those guys voted for the Labour Party, why are they now against the Labour Party? I don't understand. I don't understand this. You voted for them. Nobody put a gun in your head to vote for them. You voted for them, and you said it's because of treating. They bring down.
And then you go a concert. The spirit moved you. You getting. You go another one. You jump. You shake your bongos, and you change. Huh? You in the bowels of the UWP. Bowels. You were not on the fence. You were in the bowels.
No. You know the fellow that met in St. Martin that was undecided, or in Guadeloupe that say, boy, I am not into politics, but I may be supporting Labour. And if you do something, it's not about this. It's people. It's the operatives. It's the frontline soldiers. It's candidates. It's the high echelon of the party. Those that will say they will give their life almost for the party. But again, this is the level of hypocrisy, dishonesty, and everything bad that the UWP have ever done. That is their characteristic. They don't know any better. Their whole mantra, their MO is about deception, brainwashing, and trying to distort and mind-bending tactics. That's what they did. So then, if that's the case, they need to give people an account. Give their supporters an account of all the money they have raised, and give them a report as to what they did with it. Because if you can be so dishonest about something against your own self, what are you going to do against somebody else is the question. Will they implicate themselves? Them talking about they voted for the list. No wonder Tyrone said the Prime Minister is the best leader in the world. And then he voted for the Labour Party. Tyrone voted for the Labour Party,
Dr. King. Boy.
Tyrone voted for Dominica Labour Party.
Yes.
This is something I cannot fathom in my head, but that is how they are operating. That is how they are dishonest. I have always said the UWP, the Useless Workers Party, has started on a dishonest note. When they started the party, it was about themselves. It was dishonesty, and they continue this until I don't know when. But Dominicans know, Daryl Tate. Dominicans know. If they don't see on that situation, if they don't see the real UWP, what the fellas is really about, I don't know what else will convince them. Gentlemen, I will continue that tomorrow or Sunday night. Have a good morning. I'll give someone else a chance to express themselves. Thank you very much.
All right, you have a good morning, my friend.
It's like a man playing a game of cricket, taking his own bat, taking his own ball and
bowling to himself, and then running and bat.
And running and batting. But them fellas, I tell you.
Yota Bukifu on the local line. Good morning.
Comrade, good morning.
Good morning.
Brain and Daryl. One of the things that's not being said in this matter there, is the person who facilitated the filing of this matter. You and I can't just get up today and go to the court and file a case unless we know the processes. Some person have to help us. Some lawyer have to help us file it. So at that time, whoever assisted in filing the case was convinced that there was a matter, or later on they find out that there is no case to answer, and so I can go to court and present myself based on Nicholas George's evidence. And if you notice too, comrade, I don't know if you saw any document, Nicholas George's statement was filed sometime in May this year, after the magistrate gave the deadline for disclosure. So it means that 7 years ran, 6.5 plus years ran, and there was no statement from one of the major witnesses in this matter. And it will be interesting to find out when did the other individuals.
But after the man felt so moved to vote against himself, he still come back and run again, right? But I don't understand that.
Against the same person?
I mean, come on, man.
No, but and the point has to be made, that the individuals in that they are not ordinary people. They are vocal, committed, dedicated, unrepentant supporters of the United Workers' Party. A candidate among them, in the chief bodyguard of the political leader among them, and they have to say that because they have to be the concerts, they will move to vote on the other side. Give me a break, man. That is really fishing expedition. That's really a waste of the court's time. And Gary, you don't ask the senior counsel as to who's going to pay for the cost because the government side and the Labour Party side, the ministers and them had costs. They are the written counsel, so someone to pay.
Well. But I don't even know what else to say. I myself, I don't know what else to say.
Because in the same matter, when they went to the CCJ, they got and the Labour Party ministers lost. They had to pay. And now there should be some something in place that people who waste the court time should be made to pay. Anyhow. Yeah.
All right, man. You have a good morning. 9:26 is the morning time. On the local line, good morning.
Yes, good morning, and how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
London, good morning.
Yes. Daryl, I just called the other radio station, and I asked him the whole question about whether it is a crime for somebody to accept a bribe to vote for somebody who they did not intend to vote for. The host said, yes, it is a crime. So basically, if these guys, Blessings and Mr. George, said that they accepted bribe and they voted for the Labour Party, even when they intended to vote for the United Workers' Party, don't you think charges should be brought against them? Now, the other thing I went and I was raising questions with is the whole question of Blessings them being an evidence on the case. The fellow guy, Matt, quickly cut me off, and say that I'm not changing his narrative. Don't put the blame on the other side, And the gentleman, Blessings, was right after me. And Blessings' defense was, when you speak with people with confidence, it shows that there's no professionalism in Dominica. I mean, what does that have to do with anything? Is whether you are you are lying or you're speaking the truth. And Matt, and Daryl, allow these people to call and to attack this girl, threaten this girl, making reference to what happened to Haiti. It's going to happen to Dominica. People said they should block the woman's house. She should not be able to go to her office today. Simply because the case had no merit. Man, I just don't understand this guy, boy, Daryl, and goes and Brain. I mean, something must be done about these people. I think when these people committed this kind of a crime, lie to the court, making false accusations, they should be arrested. I don't know what your view on that. Thank you and good morning.
You have a good morning as well. And I think the legal avenues should be explored. And the 7 years of their life, they will not be able to get back with this thing hanging over their head. The 15 candidates of the Labour Party should seriously consider, I know court can be a long process, but they should seriously consider doing something to seek some kind of redress. Okay? Through legal means.
Yeah.
They should seriously consider. I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an attorney, but they should consider that. On the local line, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
The first person I saw in is the federal. The first person I saw is because I do not understand. I'm still trying to see how I can understand what is bribe. Telling somebody, if they give your child a ticket, make him come down, but make sure he vote for UWP. Isn't that bribe? Isn't that bribery? I want somebody to tell me because I really do not understand social call. Nobody will kick me out of school, but I did not go to big school. I finished school at the St. Joseph Primary School, unlike the others that go to grammar school and literally get kicked out of school, and now there's big this and big that. But I need somebody to explain to me or give me a correct understanding to the word bribe. Telling a mother, if anybody give your child a ticket to come down to vote, make sure he take the ticket. Is less expense on you and less expense on us. Make sure he take the ticket, but be sure he vote for UWP. Isn't that bribe, Mr. Zit? Isn't that bribery? I don't know, I'm asking. At the end of the day, you continue with something that you don't even have evidence of. One of the young men that worked with the United Workers' Party came on the Labour Party platform during the last elections in the St. Joseph constituency, and he explained to people how he was being given money to bribe young men, how he was given tickets to carry to Antigua so he could give people to come down to vote for UWP. You mean all of that is not bribery, but everything the Labour Party do is bribery. Well, 18 to 3 is not bribery, and 21 all will not be bribery, because that is what I am looking forward to in this next election. 21 not. I'm a very greedy person. I'm beginning to get very greedy where politics is concerned. There is no place for dishonesty in government. Good morning, this is The Voice.
You have a good morning yourself. 9:31 is the morning time. On the overseas line, good morning.
Good morning, Daryl.
Good morning.
I never went to court.
You never went to?
Goes to court. I never went to court.
Oh, court.
If a person, when they go to court, they have to swear on a Bible, right?
Yeah, at some point, I would believe, yes, when they give in evidence.
In case they go to court and they said they are there to speak the truth, nothing else but the truth, and they did not vote for Labour Party.
Well, we can only take their word, you know. We can only take their word. We cannot, how do I put it? They are claiming that is, c'est pas moi qui dis, c'est yo qui dit.
Nicolas George voted for Labour.
Yo dis ça, mais
c'est yo qui dit ça, même. Oui, c'est vrai.
Yo pas Dieu qui dit les veilles. Yo moi ta quitté yo ba bon.
Moi-même quitté yo ba bon Dieu longtemps. All right.
Okay,
thank you, ma'am.
Nicolas George
C'est pas moi qui dis.
Mais Nicolas George Kadi m'ont voté pour Labour Party.
On boucle Nicolas George Kavini. Mettez evidence du Valois. Kadi. Il pas voté pour même quoi?
Il pas voté pour quoi?
But what is this now?
I voted for the Labour Party after I listened to
the gospel concert.
I was influenced.
I was moved.
I vote against myself. That's so fool.
The man worse than loving there.
That spirit moving. That spirit moving.
Have a good time. The more the merrier.
On the local line, good morning.
Bonjour les hommes.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Auntie.
Je suis là, bien merci.
Auntie, qui est moi après-midi, hein?
Yes, I'll call you.
Au patan, sana Nicolas George voté pour Labour Party.
Mais c'est ça la couille dit.
Dis-moi.
Dominique Nimele, Dominique Chou. Mon Dieu, les Dominique Chou, pas Dominique. C'est pour moi, rester Dominique. Mais tout c'est vite la capacité. Well, next time, PM, when we have the next election, then you have to bring all these big actors down. So because first, we will take it all 21. I mean, how does it look on life like that? I cannot understand. For Blessing, I was looking for somebody else for witness. But I didn't expect Blessing and Nicholas just to click. No, man, this is wickedness. And this is perjury. And Mr. Tate, the same time that thing was going on, they didn't have something in Kadinago territory.
But those people they didn't want to go to their own concert because they were so moved.
And these are direct supporters of that useless party there. In no way they voted for the Labour Party. That is a lie.
Auntie,
we all know that.
Si se mati yo ka mati, sa se a bagay pou yo. Mais c'est yo qui dit yo vote ba Labour. Huh? They were treated. They heard the concert. When they heard they come in, they get some nice clothes to go there. And when they went there, they were moved. They were convinced that because they went there, they had to vote for the Labour Party. That's what those fellas say.
Man, them fellas, they are something else.
Man, ti si yo pa, moi ka toujou di, si yo pa fou yo me chaste.
It's wickedness. Wickedness have them go in. Jealousy and wickedness is two bad combination. Okay, there's people there. I believe when they say that they was high up on Indian hymn. Not this Indian hymn.
I don't to laugh. That's not a joke, you know.
You were high.
We laughing, but it's somehow a joke. All right.
Good program this morning, and I'll listen. I'll give you a ring on the till and then cut it through.
Okay. All right.
The more the merrier. Let's go love India.
You have a good morning.
I'll be jumping in a poco party. Me glad, said come call me. Me glad, said come call me.
Me glad. On the local line, good morning.
Hey, la. Mine's always different. Let me tell you something. Are you good morning? Are you okay?
Yes, sir. Very much.
Yes. Sit down there listening to that court case and that treating and those that say they was convinced they vote for Labour. It look like religion nowadays that have in their crusade, people will take them to court too and say they're treating. Because some people when they go and listen to crusade, time for crusade to over, they get convinced they're baptized and they become a member of the church. So mind you, I want it those denominations that like to keep crusade and invite people when people go to their crusade after they baptize in them and the people testifying and say when they go and they hear the word of God and whatever they go and baptize. So just now you will hear people taking churches to court for treating. Have a wonderful day.
You have a wonderful day.
Especially when they hear that.
I mean, this is 2021, you know, partner. We're talking about electoral reform. Okay? And this is the kind of macaque guys offering themselves for election bring in the courts.
After listening,
you came, you said you have evidence. Huh? And your evidence is that people who were intimate parts of your campaign, the leader had their transport driving up and down. Fellas that were 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, they could get the leader on the phone. Those guys reported that in 2015, one little concert of the Labour Party they listened to, and they could not vote for their own party.
Boy, that's a mystery. Put the poco on there. Put the poco.
Man, let's jump in a poco party, man.
Want to join the party posse and have a good time. The more the merrier. Follow me now. The barrel and the family come. So I gonna have some fun. And when I dress up in me nice stand down, what a la on the land. You see, long time we don't have no nice time. Now I feel the spirit moving in me.
On the overseas line, good morning.
Hey, Darryl, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I sent something through Minister Austri to give you. I don't know if you get it yet.
No, but we'll get that, man. Don't worry. Okay.
Check with him.
All right. Okay. Don't worry. All right, man. You have a good day, man.
Long, long time, we don't have no nice time. Now I feel the spirit moving in me. So mark my words, anytime you miss me, I'll be jumping in a poco party. I'm good, rockin' up the rocker with the dance poco mantra. This a party.
But yeah. That party there. I mean, good Lord, man. I mean, Jesus. This is an alternative in 2021? Huh?
Dominican stick no.
No, man. No. Look, folks, we have laughed. We have made a joke. Because this is a joke.
It is a big
But let's talk serious now. You brought 15 elected members of government
to court
before the court. Not in a civil matter, in a criminal matter.
Oh, your friends are here.
The records showed that charges were professed against 15 members of parliament, including a sitting prime minister. The implications for this were that guys could be barred from contesting elections for a period of time, disqualified from the House.
For 7 years.
The matter went before the various courts. A ruling sent it back to the magistrate's court. You claim you were prepared. No wonder little Napoleon was treated that way. Even the guy who brought the matter came and gave evidence himself.
That's right.
Huh? Candidates for your party claim they voted against your own party because they heard a gospel concert. These 6 known operatives, supporters, dirty, stinking workers. That is how bad they are. You smell them, it's workers you smell. And I don't mean they stinking in a bad way. I mean it that once you see them, once you smell them, once you hear them, that is workers' party. The poster boys and girl of the workers' party. Fellas, one of them claim that if they're sick, do not bring them in the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. They're not going in Skerrit Hospital. Huh? That is how workers they are. And these are the guys, because they listen to a man sing music on a political stage, they were convinced to vote against their party.
Their own party.
Magwesa. No finiba.
Dominic.
No, man. No. On the local line, good morning.
Darryl.
Senior Minister, good morning.
I saw you enjoying yourself this morning.
Say again?
I see you enjoying yourself this morning.
Oh my
Minister,
goodness.
Life too good, man. Life too good to give yourself stress, man.
But you see, man, in spite of all the commentary going on with this matter, I mean, this matter has been deemed to be a joke from day one. But my problem is, my brother, is the amount of anxiety that this matter has created among the people of Dominica, including the supporters of the Dominican Labour Party. Because there was a real scare among those who don't fully understand this thing like me and you, that something was going to happen to the 14 candidates that were taken before the court for treating. You hearing me? And the
yes, I am.
And the United Workers' Party, knowing full well, they knew that they did not have a case. They knew that they could not win any case. That is why their lead lawyers in the previous court sessions withdrew themselves from the matter. Because they decided on their own that that was a waste of their matter, and they were not going to make fools of themselves in the court. You hearing me? The United Workers' Party did not treat that matter with any level of seriousness, to the extent that they themselves did not make any provisions for legal representation for the men who brought the matter before the court. That is why the Mervyn fellow was never given any support by the United Workers' Party, that he had to withdraw the matter. Because the United Workers' Party did not see that as a serious matter enough to waste their money and to spend their time on it. You hearing me? And that is why they found just a few waste of them lawyers to come and sit with the court holding papers for Justin Simon. And so, Daryl, I personally believe that this guy should be arrested and charged for causing mental stress and physical anxiety to a vast majority of the people of
somebody should file private criminal complaints.
Well, I don't know, Tony, how to advise us on that, because that is mischief, my brother. That is psychological abuse on thousands and thousands, not one man, not one child, of thousands and thousands of people that were abused by the United Workers' Party over that matter. You hearing me, Daryl?
Yes.
Yes.
And I think we should really and to waste the court's time. You're wasting the court's time. Because even when the court took time off to allow you go and make noise and about the matter, matter could not be thrown out at last time we went to court because the evidence, and you did not have to find evidence then, and you have all your evidence which you want them to file, and the magistrate tell you the court told you that they give you up to the 8th of July to file your evidence, and we're waiting for the evidence. We're waiting for the evidence, Daryl. The court gave you time. The court took the time and said, look, I will suspend the matter to give you enough time to bring the evidence, the bungles of evidence you say you have to bring it. And that is what you're giving us for evidence. That is what you're presenting before the court for every blessing. And Nicholas George and all these people who are firmly and solidly affiliated with the United Workers' Party. But what evidence? I think you need to bring a man to say, look, I was offered money and I was treated and I was bribed to vote for the Dominican Labour Party. And the point you guys making, is that what Blessing is going to say before the court? That after the spirit moved me,
I vote. Yes.
I was bamboozled. I couldn't see.
I didn't know what to do.
I couldn't touch. And so I just had to go and vote for Labour. And had it not been for this concert, I would not vote for Labour. I think these guys really need a blessing and a touch. Because these guys are sinful, hardcore criminals. People with no heart. And they really need a dose of spirituality in them. So on that basis, I agree. But if that is not the basis to say, well, Nicholas George to say, well, I am a candidate in the election and I didn't vote because I went to the concert. And after I heard the McClurkin pastor, I heard
my mind was made up.
I felt like I had wings. And I was flying. And when I landed on the Labour Party.
Born again. Thank God I'm born again.
You see, Daryl, you guys can trivialize this thing. But I've been around for a while, and at my age, I can't afford to make those jokes. You young, you can make those jokes because you have time. I don't have plenty time, my brother. And so I believe it's a condemnation of the United Workers' Party and their wicked and malicious machinations that you could subject so many Labour Party supporters, our war warriors, our elderly people, Reggie Boy, what you think going to happen? Will the fire scare it so it won't be Parapa again? So there could be a new election, Bonje, what we going to do? Workers going to win the election? You know what I mean? That was serious stress. Mental stress that you place on the people, my brother. Senior citizens, young people don't know what's going to happen because you don't believe we have this big case. And if they win, then there'll be no government in Dominica. And today they ask you for evidence. You waste the court time, wait for the evidence, suspend court. Only we know nothing was going to happen there, but people don't know that. And today they ask you for the evidence. They give you how many weeks to prepare the evidence. And that is what you presented to the court for evidence, my brother. This guy should be arrested and charged. You hearing me? But
of course.
I mean, I'm not a legal person, so I don't know. You go and think I'm mad. I don't know what I say, but I'm telling you what I feel. You know, and that if that is not abuse of a people, then what else is abuse of a people? And if that is not wasting the court's time, my brother, you can bring a matter. That is what the court is there for. So you can bring your matter to court. That is fine. But there comes a time when you must tell the court, look, court, I think we made a mistake with this one. So we got permission for us to withdraw it, please, and don't charge us. And the only thing a lawyer should come there and say
exactly
is to ensure that they don't penalize you. Okay, that's the only thing the magistrate should be pleading. Okay, we agree that we're going to stop the matter, but please don't put us on a bond. You know, when they don't send you prison, and they say they send you 1 year and hold the peace. If you commit any other crime within that period, you'll be sent to jail.
That's right.
The Locust Party. We will set you free this time. But if you come back to court with this foolishness, we will not entertain no other matter, election matter. You guys bring before the court. Because of your history of wasting the court's time from 2020, from 2019. You've been wasting 19, not 19, not since 2005. You've been wasting the court's time. We will not entertain any other matter from the United Workers' Party which have to do with anything about elections or elections petition. That is my view, Daryl. You don't have to agree with me, but that is my view. I believe this guy should be reprimanded in the most severe way. And I think we should really look to see if there's an opening. Or you could charge them guys for mischief making, because that is what it is. It's mischief making. It's taking an abuse of the court process. It's causing severe pain to some people in Dominica. We can find many people. If you ask us for evidence of people that were stressed out, then we can get them by the truckloads. 3-ton truck, 5-ton truck. Remember those days?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I've heard about it.
If you want some 3-ton and 5-ton truck of people to say how stressful they were and how the United Workers' Party put them under so much pressure because of that matter, that evidence we can supply to the court and win our case big time. So that's my view on the matter, Daryl. I'm very happy to congratulate our legal team because, you know, sometimes you can lose a case on technicalities. You can lose a case for not showing up. Look, Zuma going to jail for a year and 8 months because he did not pay before the court. So you can lose a matter for.
But I was so concerned. I was losing sleep.
You understand? So, yeah. So you'll be a main witness.
Yes. Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's something that you have to consider, but we must compliment our legal team. They took the right position. They were very steadfast. It was an easy case. I'm with all due respect to our guys.
And
you understand?
One thing we must say about our party, even if we thought this was frivolous, this was a joke, we took it seriously.
Because
we
that is
took
about
it
life.
seriously.
Exactly. Politics is not a joke, my brother. Politics is not playing hopscotch in the schoolyard, in the grammar schoolyard, or in the Goodwill schoolyard, like when Brain used to play hopscotch and moral and hoops. This is serious business. This is about the life of the people. This is about the development of our country. This is about changing lives. And any slip you make might throw people back in serious economic and social difficulties. So you cannot be there. You have your listeners making joke with the people of Dominica, making joke with the election process. It's joke you're making, my brother. And this is not a job that calls for making joke. This is a serious job that calls about how people live and whether people survive based on the leadership that you get at the political level. And that is what it is. That is what the Labour Party is about in government. Being serious and taking the job seriously. Because lives depend on us. People depending on us. Parents, students, teachers, public officers. They're depending on this government to improve their livelihood and their life. You can't joke about that. But the United Workers' Party have no such intention. They don't intend to make nobody life easy. In fact, they intend to make Dominican people life miserable. Because they were the ones who told the World Bank after the hurricane, and I always refer to that stop giving farmers money, let them bastards die of hunger and starvation. Stop giving money. Right to the World Bank. Can you imagine a government writing to an institution that gives you loan money for an event like Hurricane Maria, and you write into the institution, telling the institution, don't waste your money on these people. Stop the aid. Stop the money. Do not give it to the farmers because the farmers don't deserve it. Morning, Daryl. God bless you, boy.
You
bless
have
our country.
Amen.
But we are a blessed country, and every day the truth will continue to reveal. The truth will reveal, and that truth will set the Dominican Labour Party way ahead of any other party, any organization, any institution that seeks to make the life of the people of Dominica more difficult than it already is, that seeks to stop the progress that we're making. God will decide their fate. And in this case, God has clearly decided the fate of the United Workers' Party as far as that petition is concerned. Thank you, Daryl. Good morning. God bless.
All right. You have a very good morning as well. 9:54 is the morning time. On the local line, good morning.
Hi, good morning,
Good morning. Oh, I'm so happy you called. Congratulations.
Thank you. We just came from court.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
A few of us went.
Mhm.
But the complainant didn't show up. But it wasn't just a fair complaint. They had to do some readings and do some other things. And
Yes,
the
ma'am.
magistrate had to really dismiss the court.
Okay.
But these people, United Workers' Party, I understood one of the, somebody called me and tell me Nicholas George was a witness and Hiron Vidal was a witness. These were the names they had. So Nicholas George was convinced not to vote for himself.
The man voted for you.
What Labour Party are power?
Yes.
But this is telling on him as a candidate. As a candidate. Because during my campaign and thing, I never even mentioned Nicholas George's name because Nicholas George wasn't an entity for me to worry about. I was more concerned. I was going up for the first time about what can I do for my people. So there was no.
You convince everybody, including your opponent, to vote for you.
Nicholas George.
Yes, go ahead.
But it kind of hurt me this morning when I'm seeing that the police is standing there, the crier, calling all of us names, for our presence in the court. So one day, I said, look at what the workers bringing us through.
I mean,
we all cannot win.
Do you think
and calling everybody in free time.
Do you think?
The crier calling. It was
Oh my!
like we walked in, it was
No, ma'am.
But this just tells you. And the complainant didn't show up.
Wow.
The friends of the court didn't show up.
Oh, they were not there today? Them the court
They were
vex?
not there today. They were not there today.
Oh.
So it's not a relief to me. I was never perturbed or worried, but with legal issues, you never know.
Exactly.
So you have to take everything seriously.
But after all what you have done in this country, even before entering politics, this is what you had to come to, your name being called in court.
I've never had my only time I went to court was to serve witness for somebody where I saw an unfair treatment and I offered myself as a witness. At that time it was a demonstration in town and I offered myself as a witness because the person wasn't even there when they placed the charge on him and I heard the charge. They were speaking about the charge and the person was nowhere near. So I couldn't let my conscience. I went to court to serve the person. I offered myself to go to court. As my own, I'm a law-abiding citizen to the T.
Exactly, yes.
And then for UWP to want to come boy, don't worry.
Tattoo.
The God that we serve is a just God. A God of justice. And if it's so, United Workers' Party think of winning an election, they better will and come again. Because God is not a police officer. God is not a police officer. And they better be careful because when you try to tear down people, we've seen the examples, we've seen what's happening. No, God in the instant business, you see your product, new and improved instant thing.
Yes.
It's not God in the instant business too. He lets you see your justice there and then. So I just thank Dominicans for their support, for their prayers, and continue to pray for your country. Forget the, individual, but if you pray for Dominica, that God keeps Dominica. God keeps Dominica safe and peaceful. That God put in the hearts of people their true patriotism for their land. And if it's that Dominicans can do that. If you're not interested in individuals, but for the sake of your country, because Dominica is a peaceful place. Amen. And the only disturbances we see, that's why I've been asking, tell me one positive action of the United Workers' Party. If you can tell me one, I join in them. If I can get one positive action, I join in workers. One. Boy, Jesus, have mercy on our land.
Amen.
And your guys, it's a relief for us. because it's not the relief that we're worried, but the relief that we do not have to be going up and down.
Your name does not have to be called 3 times.
They didn't even know my name. I didn't know Kathleen Daniel. I'm like,
Kathleen Kimunsa.
I'm not Kathleen Daniel.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
So if your Kathleen tell you to vote for them, it's not me.
All right. Thank you very much.
Anyway, have a blessed day.
You have a blessed day as well. All right. I mean, you know. We'll be back tomorrow with another hang, okay, fellas?
Yes.
We'll be back tomorrow with another hang. Until then, have a good morning.